Hi, I'm Brad Smart, and the title of this top grading tips article is Jack Welch's Secret Weapon. During my many years of consulting with General Electric, it was the most respected company and Jack Welch the most respected CEO in the world. Welch continues to be tapped by the press about his secrets to running a successful business. He often implores leaders to raise the talent bar and hold their managers more accountable for maintaining teams of all high performers. But he rarely discloses one of his secret weapons, perhaps the most important lever he had for improving talent at GE. Not only can you learn it, you can start using it today. By way of background, why do managers protect chronic underperformers? Welch, no doubt that you've read or heard, spent 50% of his time on talent issues. Why so much? Because so many leaders would hide their low performers. And even still today, every day in millions of companies, managers hold operations reviews, performance appraisals, and talent reviews where they, one, cleverly try to hype their own performance in operations reviews, two, hide mediocre performers in talent reviews, figuring that replacing low performers is too risky. The replacements too often turn out to be more low performers. Number three, they wimp out in performance appraisals, tolerating mediocre performance because they're afraid that the tough truth would demotivate someone. And four, they game the system, figuring they might get a promotion next year if they work extra hard to offset a mediocre performer, because any replacement would be even less productive than the low performer for most of a year. Whew. Implicit in protecting low performers is the correct assumption that most of the time, replacements turn out to be underperformers. Welch's frequently articulated, recommended approach is to be a tough leader, to sit in on those meetings, and when you see managers covering for mediocre performers, just don't tolerate it. Welch would encourage you not to wimp out, but instead to insist that chronic low performers be replaced, because those tough steps are necessary, not just desirable, but necessary in order to maintain an A-player standard. Okay, so Jack Welch's secret weapon was top grading. Managers who had the guts to push back against Welch's admonitions might have said early on, "I know Pat is not up to par, but replacing her would be distracting and time-consuming, and generally a replacement is no better." Is this a legitimate reason to keep low performers or a feeble excuse? Well, many of you listening to this or reading the article know that for 4 decades, top grading research has indicated that throughout the world, companies large and small find that when they promote or hire someone, 25% of the replacements turn out to be the expected high performers. But 50% are no better and 25% are worse. So, for managers who do not top grade, a very good reason for not replacing low performers is that indeed the replacements are no better than the person replaced 75% of the time. As such, I was brought into GE as a consultant to help improve its success promoting and hiring people, in a sense to remove that reason for living with marginal performers and make it a feeble excuse. So I helped Welch and other A-player leaders at GE challenge excuses and cover-ups by offering a very practical solution, now referred to as top grading. When 8 or 9 out of 10 replacements turn out to be that A-player, it really eliminates those feeble excuses for keeping poor performers. So since embracing the top grading methods, Welch's huge advantage in those tough interviews was that if a manager complained that replacing someone was too risky, Welch would say nonsense. Top grading would ensure a higher success rate in building teams. In the 2012 third edition of my book, Top Grading, there are 40 named case studies where CEOs express their confidence that top grading methodologies have made their company more successful. The average improvement across those 40 case studies was from 26% success to 85%, high performers hired and promoted. At only 26%, hey, tolerating or living with mediocre performers made a lot of sense. Hey, but not when 85% of the time you replace a low performer, you get an A player, a high performer, then that excuse turns into a feeble excuse. By the way, in the 2012 third edition of Topgrading, there's an updated GE case study, and the long-term head of human resources, Bill Conity, provided it. And in that updated case study, he estimated that during the Welch years, GE enjoyed better than an 80% success picking managers. So here's the summary. Perhaps the biggest reason that leaders wimp out and don't require everyone to be a high performer is that replacing people is too risky. Only 1 in 4 replacements turns out to be an improvement. Jack Welch, as CEO, could, quote, get away with demanding that managers either coach people into high performer categories or replace them because the top grading methods worked and they're still used at GE today to assure that replacements are almost always high performers. Okay? So until next time, top grade your team and you will top grade your profits.